Hey y'all, this is Asia with SD&D. I am back and I want to spend some time today just, picking up where I left off, talking about how I was dispatching my husband when he owned his own truck, his own flatbed preferably, and just kind of going into detail what it looks like to actually dispatch or what you're going to go through. Because when somebody says, a little part-time or full-time job at home, a lot of moms out there, they just go like, yes, I want to be home with my kids. That'll be easier because, I don't have to look for a sitter or pay somebody, and I could just dispatch my husband and it won't be no thing. Think again. It is not that easy. I mean, you could get through it, but not as easy as it sounds. So I just want to kind of get into some of the things we went through trying to make all of that work. Because like I said before, once he started running, after he got everything, purchased and all the documents and everything he needed, it was time to go ahead and jump on that load board and start to try to find his work. And just for something I didn't mention before in the previous video, we did start business back in 2014. So that was a while ago. So we've been rolling this thing for a minute now. And just, at this point, I just wanted to take time to share my experiences with the world, just to give some people insight that it's a good business to get into, but you got to be prepared, mind, body, and soul, and maybe a sitter if you got kids, especially young children, or just some type of schedule where you're actually on at a certain time and maybe off at a certain time. So just kind of getting into that a little bit. So we started on to get on the load board. Now he has the truck. He needs to go pick up his first load, but now I need to, what we both did, we actually both got on the load board and started looking to see what was out there. We're both new at this, and like I said, wife dispatching her husband, I don't even know what to say on the phone. So, but the incredible part is people actually teach you along the way. They teach you along the way. And so with that being said, they could tell as soon as you get on the phone if you're new, or if you're, you can even ask somebody, what do I say on your load board administration, you can call them and say, what do I say? How do I, and they told me what to do. So people were really nice in helping you, get going and telling you what you needed, when it came to signing up. And really, you're not really for sure how it all goes until you have to start doing it. So first in, he kind of helped me, find his first load. But then, of course, he needs reloads, which are the loads that is going to get him back home or get him somewhere else. But now I got to try to get savvy in how to handle all of that. And day one, I was looking crazy. But it's cool because it's gonna have to be what it is because I don't know what I'm doing. But I get on there, we make some calls. But now, of course, we got to sign up, and you may see some good paying loads on the board. People who actually put their rates on the board, you're like going crazy. Like you see all these money rates and all this money is coming to you like, oh man, like we gonna make some money in this. But starting out is not, just smooth, because these people don't know you. So they have to get used to you running their freight. So it has to be a smooth transition. So now they're saying, okay, you called about the load. Hi, this is Asia with SD&D, and I'm calling about this load that's picking up here and delivering there tomorrow. Is that still available? And she, or he'll say, well, yes, we still have that load. What's your MC number? So you have to give them the MC number or your DOT number, and they look up your authority to see if you're still active and how long. And some of them might say, you haven't been active long enough. We need you to be active at least 60 days or 90 days. So that already cuts you out. You got to get off the phone with them and find a whole nother load. It's just the beginning. So then you call somebody else, and then you want their freight, and you want to haul their freight, and they send you a packet, and you fill out the packet, and they'll say, we have one problem. We would love for you guys to get this loan, but we can't give it to you because you only have $750,000 in liability insurance, and you need to have $1 million coverage. Another one down. So then you're like, okay, we call another one we're thinking we could take that's paying pretty good, because as time is going on throughout the day, those loads are disappearing, and then you get new ones that are popping up that look just as good. And some of them you just know you're not going to mess with, or certain places you know you just not wanting to go, and especially you just trying to get your feet wet, so you're not trying to really just do the most. But him being a truck driver, he was ready to get out there. So some places that to me was looking far, he was like, I'm cool with that as long as they pay him right. And we call another place, and they're wanting to, you're new, you got to fill out a packet. Tennessee Steel Haulers is one of the first loads that we got from Atlanta to somewhere in Virginia. And we get it, they're paying pretty good, over $2 a mile. That at that time was great. I know it's higher now with a mile, with the per mile. But then if it wasn't paying over $2 a mile, it was in a go. So we get the packet, we're filling it out. Of course, at that time, I am going to go into the packet and try to get a little bit more detailed about that packet real quick. With the packet, of course, like I said before, you want to have that profile. Your first page should be the profile, which you can make. That's the fun part, because you can make that look any way you want it to look. It's about your business name, your name as dispatch and how to reach you, your number, email, your driver's name and number. And if he has a separate email, put that on there. If you have a business address, you add that, because sometimes those shippers may have to mail you, the payment. If they can't get it to somebody else, they need to know where you're located, where they would have to send things. And any other like websites or emails or any other kind of contact ways to get in touch with you, LinkedIn links, whatever you have, you will want to put on your company profile. And then of course your business name real nice and big somewhere at the top or bottom, however you want to do it to make it look nice. And you're going to use this all the time. So you're going to keep this copy of your profile ready to go. And then really what you want next is your authority document, which lists, from the FMCSA. It's going to have your MC and DOT number, your business name, and it's going to have the date that you were approved and all this good stuff. So you want to have that right behind your profile. Okay, and then after the profile, you want to go ahead and have your COI, your certificate of insurance. That's those two main things, that authority and that insurance. That's those two big things. They want to see that really, really quick, because without those things, it's already going to be a problem. And this company actually didn't mind us running with $750,000 coverage. So we got in there with them, and they were okay with that. So we had that certificate of insurance. But what I did learn right away is that you have to add that company on, that brokerage on, as a certificate holder. And at first I was calling the company, and it was like, sure, we'll connect you. And they add them on real quick and it's done. But that's a little bit time consuming. When I could one lady was like, you could just go online and do it yourself and print it out or whatever, and then boom, you got it. So once I learned that, after about 3 or 4 calls, it was easier. I didn't have to get on the phone. I could just call in. I could just, pull up their website, which I kind of already had up. I just kept everything up that I needed regularly. I had that on another page, and then I would just click on that page, go to where I need to add them as certificate holders, print that sheet out, and then I had that behind my authority. So we had the profile, then we had the authority, then we had the COI, which is certificate of insurance, and then next you're going to need that tax, Uncle Sam, you got to have that W-9, and those I went on and learned real quick. Go ahead and pre-fill that. I normally would just use one for everybody. But give or take, if I'm changing the dates on any of them, then I would still use a new one. But I would just go ahead and put my name or his name, and then the company name, and then I would mark if it's sole proprietor, if it's LLC, C Corp, S Corp, however you're filing taxes for your business, you need to check that off. Again, making sure you have your address, business name, your name, and then you sign and date. And of course, they're going to want that EIN number, whatever it is that you're using, social security number, which most people in business are using their EIN number. So once you have that in business, then you go ahead and, put that on your W-9 form. And like I said, sign and date it. And it's there. Most times you need that so much that I just went on and had those filled out, all except for the date. And then I had that behind the insurance. And then I also put my NOA, notice of assignment, how you plan on getting paid. If you have factoring, it's best to just go ahead and include that NOA in that packet so that you are already, set and ready to go with that. And that's just probably just the brunt of it. So that you fill out their agreement form, which some people had a few pages and some people had a heap of pages. It depended on how big the brokerage was and everything that they asked for. And they even may ask again how you plan on getting paid in that, and you sign and date. Lots to read on their stipulations and how they run. And then you're going to send all of that back. So you're basically scanning all of this back on, or typing it in on the computer, and then, filling it in on the computer and emailing it back, whichever way is easiest for you. At first, I was faxing everything, so that was real crazy because I was running out of ink and paper. I was like, it got to be a better way. I just wasn't thinking because I wasn't prepared on what I needed to do with all of this and new to everything. So I had to get savvy, like really quick. In most cases, as you're filling out this packet, your load is going to be gone that you called for, because whoever, these people, they got truckers and carriers calling all day for these same loads. So then if they call in and they've already ran with them and they're in the system, they trust them and they're already signed in. So then guess what? They're going to do what? Run with them. So at first you're like trying to hurry up and get this stuff in really quick. And that goes to talk about moms and working as a dispatch or just wife helping the husband. And I stick with that so much because I didn't ever look at myself as a dispatcher. I didn't take classes. I didn't even think that I was doing dispatching work. I was just helping my husband. And I'm feeling like he started this business. I'm helping him out. But at the same time, I'm still home mom to 3 young children who at times just want attention. But then, of course, when they start talking about food and snacks and all this stuff, the next thing come in, and then you got the older ones in school, but then you got one little one at home that just don't want to be left alone. So they're right there with you in everything that you're doing, even with answering phones and everything. Okay, so let me tell you, it's a whole nother level of trying to get some stuff done when you are trying to dispatch, when you have, children there. And at this time, I'm gonna point out, my mother-in-law was with us. So she helped me out through that time. And none of this was expecting to go this way, but it was a good thing that she was here, because without her, some of them days I wouldn't have made it through. I really felt like I was about to have a breakdown because these kids were, Mom, while I'm trying to take calls and, find loads for him to go out and come in. And like I said, because we're new and nobody knows us and we're constantly having to fill out packets, I don't want to lose the load. So I'm trying to get this packet filled out really quick or typed in really quick and give them back all the information they need. And I try to just give them everything at once so they don't need anything else. It was very rare they had to ask me for anything more, because I tried to give them everything. And that way you'll get just exit out. Okay, everything is approved. They go ahead and send you the rate con. You sign that, send it back, and you call your husband and you basically dispatch him. You give him all the information he needs to go pick up this new load, the next day or, that day. And so with that, happening, if you got a baby that's crying or needs help, you're going to want to go get your baby. You want to stop all of this, but your husband is out there somewhere parked or on the road needing you to, get this load approved and get this load going so he can get going. Because guess what? We all know, in this trucking industry, that HOS, hours of service, they ain't got all day. I don't know if you got a Qualcomm in your truck or you got log books that you have to write in to make sure you're compliant on the road if you ever get pulled over by the DOT, baby. They ain't playing no games out there on the expressway. You have to be ready. So in that time, you're trying to like, okay, give me a minute, get him. And so my kids were a little bit big. I want to say 5, 11, 10, and 12 or whatever at the time. 3 of them, my girl was the oldest, 2 young boys. So she's good at a lot of things I could get her to do, but some things are just out of her jurisdiction. She just, certain things I don't even want her to mess with. Certain things she can do and certain things she just cannot. So now I'm trying to, which way I'm gonna go real quick. So I started getting into, here's a sticky note. Sticky notes, right, mama? A note real quick so I'll know if it's urgent, what's going on. And then I had to have like a little meeting with them. If it's not urgent, just try to give me a minute, send me a note. I'll respond to you real quick so I do not miss the loads. And then, if you hadn't had a snack when you get off the bus, going in, you don't have to ask for snacks and juice and all that stuff. Or if you want something else after a snack, get fruit. You had to have these rules and things laid out. Wash your hands first, all this stuff that I used to watch them do or help them do. Now I'm no longer able to really help them if I'm in the middle of trying to make sure we can get this money. Because guess what? This is the job now for our household, and this is what's going to pay all the bills. So I don't have a choice but to try to get to it. And we just didn't think of it that way. So it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like I would, he would be in the store. I would be in the store and things would arise. And I'm like, you're going to have to wait a minute. Like, I got to get this done. And then as soon as I get back to the house, get back to the office, I can send those docs over or whatever it is that they're looking for. Some companies are just different. Sometimes they expect so much that other companies don't expect. And you got to go make sure they get it so everything is cool. So me having to reach out to brokers on a daily basis, of course, they get to know eventually who you are. So things do lighten up, but not within those first few months, because you're literally trying to, get food cooked for your kids, or, it starts to get to a place where dinner time is coming. And now if anything's going wrong with one load, you're trying to make sure your husband is secure with another load for the next day. And like I said, it's just not a walk in the park at first, because you don't have a choice but to get this money going for the next day. But at the same time, your children need that attention. And if they're really little, you have to break away from dispatching to help them. Like, they have to have your assistance. And most times you can't take your eyes off of them, those little ones. So you can have gates and you can have, protection on your doors to keep them from opening door knobs. You can have the sockets blocked off. You can have everything in line that you think that a little one won't get into or won't get hurt, and they're going to find something. Trust and believe. I know it all too well. So there is no, let me do this real quick with real little ones under 5 years old, thinking they just gonna be okay for a long time by themselves. We all know that as moms, you ain't got maybe but a couple seconds with them. So, just kind of sharing that idea for moms who's thinking, oh, this would be great because I'll just be right here. Think again, you have to really kind of, have it set up where there's somebody at least within the first few months, because it does, like I said, get easier. You get people that start to know you by name, and they're just dropping those loads in your inbox. And they're like, we got this for you when he's back. Where is he at? When he'll be in? Okay, this is his. We got it. They were really, satisfied with the work that my husband did, picking up and delivering. So they were just giving us, these loads right off hand. So it wasn't an issue then. But when people are trying to get to know who you are, they're giving it to everybody else but you, and you're spending the days trying to get loads back to back over and over. So just to lay that out there on how to be prepared when it comes to, being a mom at home with children, part-time, full-time, at-home jobs, sound good, but you got to be prepared for it. So if that helps anybody today, that's great, because sometimes people don't hear that part. All they hear is at home, making money, being with my babies. You know, we got to put the real out there so people really know what they're getting into. But that's all I have for y'all today. I will be back with some more details about being on the load board and everything that we had to do to keep running on a daily basis. Some of the things that we ran into, and I will definitely eventually get into, the brokering world and how I got there, because this all leads to those places. But I gotta share this part because it's vital when it comes to saying, I want my own truck to get on the road. But y'all have a good evening, and I'll talk to you guys soon. See you on the next video.